Here's why Maher keeps surviving these fights. It's not because everybody loves him. A lot of people absolutely do not. It's because he fills a role almost nobody else in liberal media wants anymore. The person willing to embarrass his own side in public. That matters. Audiences can forgive arrogance. They can forgive a bad joke. They can even forgive somebody being wrong now and then. What they do not forgive forever is cowardice. And that's the itch Maher scratches for millions of viewers. He gives them the feeling that at least one person inside the tent is still willing to say, guys, this is getting ridiculous. Not with carefully padded activist language. Not with 10 layers of committee-safe phrasing. Just bluntly, sometimes too bluntly, sometimes unfairly, sometimes like a brick through a glass door. But in a culture drowning in managed language, even a brick starts to look honest.
That we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you one.
And that brings us to the show itself. The View didn't become a target simply because it's popular. It became a symbol. It was meant to feel messy, lively, and full of genuine disagreement, but to many viewers, it eventually started feeling less like a conversation and more like a ceremony. One opinion dominates, a token challenge appears, and then gets interrupted or buried before the ad break. That perception matters because in media, perception is gasoline. Once viewers believe a show values affirmation over discussion, every interruption feels strategic and every outrage rehearsed. That's when Maher's criticism stopped sounding like an attack on one person and started sounding like an indictment of the entire format.
Whoopi said I was flippant and immoral for saying it's time to chuck the masks and get back to normal. Well, are 43 states here in America and the entire nations of England, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland flippant because they're saying the same thing now? COVID is so much more complicated than just, I'm for more safety than you are, and therefore I'm a better person. But Whoopi is misinformed on many aspects of the COVID debate. After she got it recently, she said that being vaccinated, quote, doesn't stop Omicron, and that's the problem with the variant because it gets stronger. Actually, it usually gets weaker, as is the case with this one. But that's okay. She's allowed to be wrong.
But that wasn't even the weirdest part. The real contradiction was this. Modern elite grievance can speak like an outsider while living like royalty. And that drives ordinary people crazy. You can't spend years at the center of culture on one of television's biggest platforms, surrounded by money, influence, and institutional protection, while still acting like you're outside the gates fighting for recognition. And once that happens, every complaint sounds different, every lecture lands harder, and every claim of rebellion starts feeling like costume drama under designer lights. That's why stories like this spread so fast. People aren't just reacting to the controversy, they're reacting to the hypocrisy.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted to make sure that this was a person's world.
And this is where the media class keeps getting caught. When facts become inconvenient,